Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hallmark Guy Podcast. I am Baptiste, the Hallmark Guy, and today I'm going to talk about a 2026 Hallmark Channel movie. We're going to talk and recap and review The Stars Between Us, which premiered on Saturday, February 21st, 2026 at 8, 7 Central on Hallmark Channel as part of Loveuary. It is the third movie of Loveuary 2026 and starred Sarah Drew in her first Hallmark movie in almost 2 years, with the last one being Branching Out, which premiered in April 2024. And of course, she has been starring in Mistletoe Murders, which premiered in 2024, with season 2 in 2025. And last week, they renewed the show for season 3, which will premiere this countdown to Christmas. So it has a lot of people really, really excited. And the movie also starred Matt Long in his return to Hallmark since Christmas Joy and Countdown to Christmas 2018. So almost 8 years for Matt Long. So without further ado, let's get into the movie. The movie starts 7 years in the past in Carbondale, Illinois. Kim, played by Sarah, and Malcolm, played by Matt, are both there to look at an eclipse that's going passing through Carbondale. Kim is waiting for her boyfriend to get there. He's running late, and he's the one with the special eclipse glasses that you need to look at the eclipse. While she waits, she meets Malcolm, and they kind of connect. You see that there's something happening, but right before the eclipse, Kim's boyfriend get there, and she watches the eclipse with him. In the present time, Kim is now a divorced single mother who works at a local TV station in Chicago. She wants to be a reporter, but the last time they gave her a shot, she froze live on the air. Malcolm is an astronomy professor at a community college in Arizona, and the eclipse will pass over Carbondale once again, which is pretty rare in just 7 years. Malcolm is going with his colleague Travis from the film department because Malcolm has written a book and would like the help of an old professor of him and now famous astronomy podcaster Dr. Longford to publish it. Kim asks her boss to send her to report on the eclipse. At first, he says no, but he finally agrees, but tells her that it is her last shot. She asks to go with her camera person friend Claire, and her boss tells her that she also has to work with his nephew Reed, who will produce the whole thing. He promised his sister he would give him a shot. Problem is, Reed has never produced anything and he is very clumsy. For example, he locks himself out of the truck and he only booked one hotel room for the three of them. When they get to Carbondale, Kim is not at ease in front of the camera. I mean, she's a mess. She has to reshoot multiple times her pre-tape segments. And Steve, who works for a St. Louis local channel, is not kind to her. He tells her that she sucks because he wants the spot where she's recording to record his segment. Starting there, Kim and Malcolm will keep missing each other by a few seconds, meaning that she'll get in line for something, she'll have to leave the line, and he'll get in line. She'll get out of the car, get into the hotel, he'll get out of the car right after. The whole movie is that they're in the same room. They're in the same room, but then they're wearing like masks for like costume party. They miss each other by that much. But their friends connect. Claire and Travis even fall in love, and Reed and Meredith, who is an old student of Malcolm, who finds him there. Uh, there's also gonna see we'll see that something's starting between them. Kim has issues with Reed being bad, especially since the St. Louis affiliate did not send a reporter. The network decided to use her to go national. So they both talk and decide to up their games. Kim hears about Dr. Longford and thinks that it would be a good idea to interview him live on TV right before the eclipse. But he has already booked an interview with Steve from St. Louis, but thanks to Reed, they managed to steal the interview. Problem is, day of the eclipse, Steve, who is mad at Kim for stealing his interview, will direct Dr. Longford the wrong way to the bathroom minutes before he has to go live. He'll get lost and won't make it for the live segment. Looking for a replacement, Travis suggests his friend, the astronomy professor, Malcolm. Everyone agrees, and they set up, and right as they go live, Kim realizes that it is Malcolm. She is flustered on air, but they both kill it. They go talk right before the eclipse and kiss right as it happens. They actually miss it. After the eclipse, Dr. Longford, who saw the segment on TV and loved them, invites them to be guests on his live podcast that he's about to record on the stage in Carbondale. He also says to Malcolm that he will send his book to his publisher. Kim signs off the air, she and Malcolm kiss, and that was The Stars Between Us. So, as usual, we're going to start with what worked for me. And what worked for me is the actors. Sarah Drew, I mean, who hasn't seen Grey's Anatomy, I think, in the world? So I haven't seen every episode. I've seen an episode here, an episode there, and I have a sister who really likes the show. So of course, April, we love her as April, and I think she's also great for Hallmark. I didn't get the chance to talk to her at the Hallmark Christmas Experience last year, but every time I was close to her, I saw her on stage, all that. Was so sweet. She seems so sweet, really funny, great for Hallmark, and she was great in this role. And Matt Long, my mom and I watched the show that he was on, Manifest. Great show. I was happy when I started watching Manifest that I realized that he was a Hallmark guy, and I was happy to see him back on Hallmark. So of course, I like both of them. I think that they acted well. I like their characters. Um, yeah, they brought good things to their characters, and they were really enjoyable to watch and enjoyable to root for. The story was also fun. I mean, it was an interesting topic, not something that we've seen before. And I've seen people say, well, I'm not very interested in like astronomy or like eclipse, so it was hard for me to get into the movie. I can't say that I am either, but I liked it. It was enjoyable. The story was good. I didn't feel bored or like, I was like, yeah, it's an interesting story. Let's see where this goes. And I liked what I believe were, but I could be wrong, real aerial shots of the last eclipse, which I believe was 2024. When I watched it on ABC, and they were in multiple places across the country, and it looked like a place where they were. So if it were real shots, good for them. If they weren't real shots, good for them because they made it believable to the point where I was thought, oh, this is really when the eclipse happened. So it added to the movie, at least for me, because it's the little things that I point out and that I see. And yeah, it was interesting story, great setting, and enjoyable time. I liked all the characters. Of course, Reed is annoying, but he becomes attaching when he starts, realize doing a good job, and you start to kind of like root for him in a way because people truly didn't believe in him, and he actually becomes really good. I mean, he steals the interview, and then he's the one. I didn't mention it in my recap, but right before the eclipse, and he's with Meredith, who has like a telescope and a camera, and he's like, "Can I hook that camera to like our signal?" And so they have the best high definition view of the eclipse that no other channel would have. So he's actually good at this job. So he becomes attaching. And I thought that Travis and Claire were really great characters. I like Travis. I liked his as I think I see it always as a guy perspective. So I liked his character. He was smitten with Claire, so that was enjoyable to see. And he seemed like a good guy. And Claire seemed fun because she's like hanging out with Travis, like in the restaurant of the hotel, and then she gets back to the room, and like Reed's like, "We got the interview." So Reed and Kim are like, "Yeah," and so Claire's like, "Yeah." What interview? So that was really funny. They were two really great side characters, and I was excited every time we saw them on screen and just the two of them actually developing their love stories. And I think that something that was interesting and kind of nice and refreshing is that they had a nice secondary character love story. They let them explore their love story. They was a kids, and maybe it happened before, but usually the side characters, sure, it happens often that the side character falls in love with another side character or something, but like they hug or something. We had a kiss, like middle of the movie. So that was really interesting and refreshing to see them being able to explore the love stories. I really enjoyed that and really enjoyed their characters. So yeah, what I did not like, and it's one thing, but it's a big thing. I know that's the point of the movie of them kind of missing each other all the time. That's the point until they reconnect and like the stars between us. Yeah, there's something between us. Every time we cannot connect, we cannot see each other. But it kind of annoyed me that the characters only interacted towards the end of the movie. I mean, if you look at like commercials, it's gotta be like, I don't know, with commercials, maybe in the last 20 minutes, maybe even less with the movie. Because at first I was like, okay, they're gonna miss each other the first time they get to Carbondale, and then okay, and then they'll spend time in Carbondale together. And again, that's the point of the movie. That's the way they wanted the movie and the storyline to go. We're just not used to it on Hallmark. Of course, we see them developing their thing and interact. So I get that it's the point, but it annoyed me because I wanted them to interact more in the movie. Some things to point out. So Reed booked one hotel room, and they're like, and I mean, people do what they want. But she's like, "Well, I'll sleep on the floor." And like Kim's like, "No, we'll probably can call the reception, like they will a bed or something." There's two big beds in that room. Can't Reed sleep on one bed and Kim and Claire in the other one? I mean, I don't know. It made sense to me that they would do that. So like, I know it's to create something for the movie that Can Reed messed up, but like pick a room with just one bed to film in. So that, I don't know, like that's a non-issue kind of. Why would they send her national? First of all, so St. Louis didn't send a local correspondent, like a local reporter. Okay, well, and now it makes me think. Eclipses are usually, well, I would say eclipse are usually national broadcasts, but I'm thinking in a market maybe where the eclipse goes through, maybe there's a local broadcast. I've never experienced that before, so I'll give them that. But St. Louis didn't send one, so we're going to send you. Well, then, no, well, then that doesn't make sense anymore either, because St. Louis might have been a local market. Then why didn't they send someone? No, why didn't they say someone? They don't send someone to. So St. Louis didn't send someone, so you're going to go national. So I guess St. Louis was a local market, and like they would have had their special edition of it, or like I don't know. That's it's my whole reasoning doesn't really. I'm questioning my reasoning now because I would think St. Louis. My first thought was St. Louis didn't send a reporter, so we're going to go national. What's the connection between the two? You know, what's the connection? And then we're like, okay, maybe it's St. Louis was supposed to have the local edition because passed through St. Louis. But then why didn't St. Louis send someone? So the reasoning didn't reason much, but I need more information at the same time. Plus, I mean, okay, she's there, sure, but I would guess that other local reporters from the network from other markets would be there. Um, why send her national? She's bad. She's supposed to be bad. She's good. In the end, she's good. But at first, she's really, really bad. So their whole reasoning for the network on such a big event to choose her to go national, something to be studied, studied, really. So yeah. Then she's not on the air during the eclipse. She does her whole thing before the eclipse, and then the eclipse happens, and she's like, well, bye. And she goes to talk with Malcolm, and then comes back after the eclipse. So who hosted? What happened during? You just filmed the sun and the moon. That's it. No hosts. I've seen multiple eclipse coverage, and that's not how it happens. So I know we're not supposed to look for real life in these movies, but the whole thing they send her there for, she's not on the air for it. So yeah, that didn't make much sense. So yeah, that's some things to point out. Final thoughts. Overall enjoyable movie, not amazing, but I would say best of Loveuary with because of Cupid right behind it, and I give it a 3.5. So yeah, that is it for the stars between us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you thought about the movie. Go follow the Instagram at the Hallmark Guy Podcast. I have clips from the show and also special Instagram content that I do just for Instagram with some reels and like my recaps, my rankings, all that. Like I do special design for that and all that. So go follow there, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.